Gentlemen, I see I have one supporter over here. I am super excited and super privileged tonight to be able to introduce not only my sponsor, but she's become one of my best friends. And when I think of her and I think of her story and her life and the spiritual principles that I see her display, I think of perseverance, staying clean no matter what. That's what I think of. I'm going to introduce my sponsor, my friend, Theresa.
This is very ridiculous. Oh my God.
My name's Theresa. Can you hear me?
Hey,
Theresa. Okay. Yeah. I'm really nervous. And I'm sorry. I feel like I should have come in here with a disclaimer. Like, I might say the F word. I'm going to try really hard not to cuss. No, I'm not going to try not to cuss. I'm going to just try not to drop some F-bombs on you guys. I'm going to cry, right? Like, that's just a part of where I'm at right now. And I'm a crier anyways. So, it's going to happen, and I'm sorry. But, when I got the phone call, it's funny because I've been, I think it's all God. That's another thing too, if anybody's got a problem with God, then I'm going to have to tell you to, probably call your sponsor when this is over with, or if you got to leave and call your sponsor, because I'm going to talk a lot about God. And I had a problem with that when I first got clean, so I can understand how that might make somebody uncomfortable, is the reason that I say that. But it was a God thing that I was standing here. It's Christmas, and it's funny because Christmas time was, because I have to qualify myself, Christmas time was definitely one of my rip-roaring times of the year. I remember 2 years before I had gotten clean, I had consecutively spent the previous 2 Christmases before I got clean in jail on Christmas morning. And it was funny because I was eating green bean casserole, and I remember in jail they gave me green bean casserole, and I thought, this shit is not like my mama's, okay? But, the first year, it's amazing because the first year that I had I went to jail on Christmas Eve, and it was for assaulting my mother. So that's kind of big right now for me. Mama wanted to drop the charges, because my mama was one of my biggest enablers. She loved me so much. And she wanted to drop the charges, and the state wouldn't let her. Thank God, So I sat in jail through Christmas, and that was my first Christmas without the children. And then the following year, I guess because it was Christmas time, I have no idea. I think Christmas is my season. It's my season. The following year, I was 10 days short of the restraining order that I had for a year from the Christmas before. Went back to jail for assaulting a family member. Look, I'll tell you right now, I smacked my daughter. And that's a hard thing for me to say. It's really hard for me to say. But the fact of the matter is that she was there, she was present the year before, so I went to jail this time. It wasn't just a, battery charge. I'm on the tail end of 6-year probation sentence for aggravated assault because they went back and, caught me with those charges. From the year before, I was on probation and I busted a peace bond. And so anyways, so I got to spend Christmas in jail that year too, and that was my second year at Christmas without my children. So I didn't get it, right? I still didn't get it. I know that I got out of jail and went, they held me for a while that time, but when I finally did get out of jail, I went right back to using, and that was that was the December of 2010. My clean date's 1/23/11. So January 23rd, 2011. I thought I was going to get my ducks in a row before I had to go to court, and so I thought, I'm going to sign up for this outpatient program. Like, I know it's an outside issue, but it's extremely important to me. Signed up for this outpatient program and on January 7th, and I kept thinking, okay, I'm going to do this. Well, I couldn't even stay clean long enough to go to outpatient, and there's a very dear man in my life today. To this day, he's very dear to me, very close. He just happened to be the counselor that would, do group, and he'd just be like, man, it's cool that you just show up, I don't care how fucked up you are. Ooh, I did it, see? I knew it was gonna happen. I don't care how messed up you are, at least you're showing up. And I thought, this guy is so weird, man. Like, what is wrong with him? Well, so, it took a little while, and then I finally, I decided that I wanted to detox before I had to go to court. I was only going to court over the DWI that I'd gotten, and I also got that aggravated assault charge. But I wanted to try to detox before I got to court, and I went to court that morning, and there was another lady that that worked for the same facility where I had signed up for that outpatient treatment, and I just flat out said, look, I don't think I'm going to be able to stay clean. It's not going to happen. They were telling me all the things I needed to do to get my driver's license back, and they had actually ordered me to have a few, I had to have a couple outpatient classes in order to get my driver's license back, and I just told her no, I couldn't do it. So she made a couple of phone calls before I knew I was standing in front of the judge, and he said, okay, look, you have until 2 o'clock today. They're going to let you in a chem-free house. You'll go and do that. And so I moved into chem-free at 3 days clean. I had 3 days clean. Still wasn't passing the drug test. I think I was still pretty messed up, to be quite honest with you. But that started my journey that day. Honestly and truly, that was on the 26th of January. And then 2 days later was my birthday. And I thought, oh gosh, once I get that, can I just leave and I'll be back? Like, don't let me go. I'll be back before the weekend's over. They're like, no, you don't get to do that. And I thought, okay, well, so it was funny because one of the girls in the house, I wish she was here, she made the suggestion that I go to a meeting. I went to a meeting with all the girls in the house, and I picked up a white key tag that day, and I got a sponsor that day. I asked somebody to be my sponsor. She said no. So I had to go, and I was like, look, I gotta find somebody. She was like, go to this chick over here. I said, okay. I got this other chick, and she was my first sponsor. I didn't waste no time. Like, I'll tell you that, like, I immediately started doing steps. My attitude at the time was, like, I really didn't, what did I have to lose? At this point, I had nobody. When I walked in the doors, I had the girls from Chem Free, but other than that, as far as my whole existence and how I've grown up and the people that were involved in my life, whether it's my children, my mom, my, everybody, my people, they were no longer there. They were tired. They were probably just as tired as I was. So my attitude was, like, what do I have to lose? I might as well go ahead and try. So I got a sponsor. Started working the steps, and I guess in about 6 months clean, my sponsor had relapsed, and I had to get another sponsor. So that was a big deal to me. It still is a big deal to me, only because of the fact that it was funny the way that my brain worked. I don't know what came over me, right? Like, I didn't go, oh my gosh, I'm going to go use. I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get another sponsor. Like, I got to find a sponsor now. I can't just not have a sponsor. And I didn't know what God was doing. Like, I have no idea that that was God doing that for me, because I don't know. That just doesn't seem like the way I think. You know, this was the one person that, you know, I was the closest to at this point. And I thought, you know, well, but I realized right away that wasn't about me, which was kind of cool. You know, I didn't have that, you know, it hurt my feelings, made me sad, and I just worked a really ridiculous first step with her. But I'll tell you one thing that I know to this day is that even through her relapse and coming back, like, you know, it's a big deal to know that there are people in these rooms that we can trust. And through all of that, I've never heard any portion of that first step out of her mouth to another human being, or like it come back to me that she's actually, you know, she took what I gave her and she kept it, and she shares it with me every once in a while, you know. So that was big. That was real big. And then so I got another sponsor and I started working the steps. I continued to work the steps. I'm not going to say I started over. My second sponsor let me go over my first step again, and I continued on, and she'd been my sponsor for quite some time. This is where the crying comes in, because I still miss her quite a bit, you know. I worked every step with her up through 10. Was it 10 or 9, 10 or 11? So I gotta check with my new sponsor, like, where did we pick up? I don't even know, but fact of the matter is that, like, in all of that, I've worked all 12 steps, thank God. Oh my gosh. I know I need to do that again. I'll tell you that right now. I know for a fact I need to do that again. But back to Christmas time, like my first Christmas, you know, I moved into that Free house, and I don't know why that facility thought at 4 months clean I could be a house mom, but they didn't. 4 months clean, and I'm in the middle of like a fourth step, and they thought that'd be a good idea. Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny because I can talk about this too. I wish he was here too. There's another, I have a predecessor that says that his theory is that every year that we stay clean, like we're in that step. So like my first year is in my first step, my second year is in my second step, my third year is in my third step. Well, I'm coming up on my fourth year, and I feel like I'm in the middle of a fourth step, okay? I ain't even gonna lie about it. The theme of my whole year has been bittersweet. I didn't even know what that meant until recently. That word has a whole new meaning to me, you know? So I didn't have my kids that first Christmas, and I'm in this house with all these women who, you know, just got out of prison and are getting their kids back and all these other things, and I'm just popping resentment after resentment after resentment, because all I wanted my ship to go just as fast and as smooth as everybody else's had gone, and it wasn't happening, man. I'm still sitting around looking like, where's my kids? Why won't they let me talk to my kids? And total victim mentality, and I was mad at everybody. So I decided that I was gonna take one of the girls from the house, because that's, you know, the most intelligent thing to do. Go into a meeting and tell everybody in the meeting that I wanted to set our Christmas tree on fire, and I hurt some feelings pretty damn bad when I did that, because, you know, I didn't think about the girl that was sitting in the room with me at all. And she had just gotten out of prison, and it was her first Christmas with her children. And I was so wrapped up in myself that all I could think about was this tree needed to go, because it was hurting my feelings. So that caused a little bit of a tiff. And a little bit. And it's kind of cool though, because it was cool because of the fact that I was in the middle of my fourth stuff in a way, because I was at a point where there was a lot of awareness going on finally for the first time. And sure, there's a lot of guilt and shame and all this other shit that was going on, but I was aware. of where, you know, like, for the first time I could see how I was wrong. Like, for me, that was a big deal, like, 'cause I was never wrong. No. And, so, let's just say I kind of hung out at that place for a while. Sometimes I'd like to say that, you know, I stayed and managed chem-free houses. I was a house mom for over 2 years in chem-free, and I'd like to say I did it for too long, and I don't know. I did it exactly the way that I was supposed to do it, just the way that I feel about it. I feel like that was one of the biggest blessings I ever got in my life, because I can tell you that I'm standing here and I'm looking at so many women that are a part of my life right now, that if I hadn't have been able to have that opportunity, we wouldn't be where we are at all. And I mean, that's even one of my sponsees, man, like, for real. So, my thing is that Christmas is hard. It's always been hard. Christmas is not easy for me. I've done a lot of things, you know, to try to get through, I guess, the guilt and the shame. I tried to work through that to the best of my ability with the help of the steps. So Christmas was always hard. And last year was my first opportunity to, I got to spend Christmas with 2 of my 3 children and my mama. I like to actually wake up in the morning and open presents, you know, do the whole thing. It took me, that was my 3rd Christmas clean, so it took me till my 3rd Christmas to get 2 of the 3 children to sit in the same room with me and open presents, and my mom would be there. Had I known that I wouldn't have my mama today, I was thinking about this earlier today, like, if I'd have known that last Christmas was my mom's last Christmas, would I have acted any different? And I think it would have been so disrespectful if I had. I think that too went exactly how it was supposed to go. You know, she didn't get the experience of getting to see me and all 3 of my kids in the same room for a very long time together. And I know that she put forth so much effort trying to get that 17-year-old of mine to, you know, give me a little bit of a break. But it didn't happen last year. So, anyways, last year was a good Christmas, though. So, anyways, in March of last year, we found out that my mom had cancer, and you know, I kept thinking about, you know, this. I had an amends to make to her, and everything had been this living amends, and I've been going through it and trying to figure out, you know, because it's always, my whole life it had been with me and my mom. I have a brother, but he, you know, kind of hung out with my dad, and it had always been my mama and me, and Mama was the first person I used with, and they're one of the last people I used with. My mom was my biggest enabler, but my mom was also my biggest supporter. My mom taught me how to be a mom. And I know that my mom, you know, I know that no matter what, she loved me the best that she could. And I felt every bit of that, and I can still tell you to this day, I do believe that, you know, I didn't get it until, you know, now I get to look at my kids and realize how much my mom loved me. You know? So anyways, I know that staying clean has afforded me the opportunity to actually be able to, I went to every single treatment. I went to every single surgery. Spent a lot of time in the hospital. Mama just progressively got sick, and progressively got more and more sick, and more sick. And so there was, you know, there was a point in time I even changed jobs so I could make sure that I could show up for radiation, because radiation was Monday through Friday. It's going to radiation 5 days a week for I don't know how long. It was like 3 months or something, but I'd even changed jobs and worked at night so I could make sure that I'd show up for radiation every day with her. And I remember then thinking, you know, like, I remember like it was like her second chemo treatment, and I was sitting there and I was thinking, because we'd leave radiation on Tuesdays and we'd go straight over to chemo, and that was a long day. You know, I kept thinking, man, like, this is the first time, other than my 5th step. Now, don't get this twisted. Like, my 5th step, I felt God. I could tell everybody that, like, and I still to this day, like, you know, they always talk about that hole that we always tried to fill with drugs. I actually, in my 5th step, can remember feeling that hole fill up a little bit. That happened again when I was sitting in chemo one time with Mom, and I kept thinking, man, that's God. It's God. What else could it be, you know? And I go through phases. I've gone through phases, and you know, find some acceptance. I wouldn't necessarily say I'd let it go, but I realized that I really had absolutely no control over what was going to happen, and that my job was just to show up. It's just to show up and just be there. And then in the process of all of that, like, it was funny because I remember getting so sad the first part of Mom's sickness that I kept thinking, man, I don't want to be this sad. I don't want to be seen and be this sad. Like, it hurts to be this sad. And it almost reminded me of how sad I was when I was using, and what am I going to do different? And that's when I started thinking that, like, I need to start thinking of some good shit. Man, there's got to be some good shit going on. It ain't all bad, you know, like, there cannot be all bad stuff going on. And, you know, like, it all wasn't happening right away. I still didn't have my kids back. I had a relationship with 2 of them still. I was in a really messed up relationship off and on all the time. I didn't know how to live with myself, and I didn't know how to live without whatever. You know, I was doing all these other things that just didn't seem so good and healthy. And I kept thinking, you know what though? Like, I'm still clean. I'm still clean. I really thought that, you know, like, I thought this is some shit that I would have got high over. I remember actually writing about, you know, if I don't get my kids back, I'm gonna get high. Why not? I'm gonna do it. Well, you know, every so often, God sticks it in my lap and says, okay, here you go. Here's an idea. What if you don't get your kids back? You gonna get high, really? And I have to, like, completely have that surrender all over again. And, I don't know about anybody else, but I know that the feeling of rejection has a tendency to make me, like, that's one of my first thoughts. You know, not so much anymore, but when I first had to walk through that, my feelings are hurt because the boy left or whatever, you know, that rejection, boy, that was rough. You know, one thing I've learned through steps is, like, it's self-acceptance, right? Like, it's all this, I don't think I'm good enough, I don't feel like I'm good enough, and how when the boy leaves, that's really not about me. It really ain't. And when I leave, it's not about the boy either. You know, let's just get that straight too. But I got to show up for Mama. I decided I was going to work in a treatment facility. That's where my nighttime job was while Mama was in radiation. And I'm sorry this is going to be a lot about my mom, but, you know, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. It was going to be a lot about my mom, but I decided I was going to work in this treatment facility while Mom was going through radiation because I could work at nighttime, and it just happened that, you know, like, normally you start out part-time, and they actually gave me a full-time job. Monday through Friday, I could work at night, and still had my weekends to where I could actually have Isabella, and I was doing it. But I kept realizing I was just getting sicker and sicker, I couldn't figure out why. Well, it just goes to show that like I'm really not cut out to work in a treatment facility because I do not have boundaries. I don't have boundaries very good at all. I'm working on that right now. Okay, at almost 4 years clean. I'm going to try to work on something as simple as some boundaries. I'm still not really good at that. Baby steps. So I kept that job until the day that the day we left radiation, and they told us that, suppose that Mom was done with radiation. I went ahead and called my old job and said, can I please come back? And that's one of the beautiful things about recovery. Like, I had this job before, and they were like, if you ever want to come back, you can actually come back here. And I said, okay, yay. So, and they did. They totally took me back. I've never had that happen. I took a job, and they actually said I could come back, and they followed through with that. They weren't like, just leave, Theresa. You know? And not only did they let me come back, but they also gave me a promotion. I got a promotion. I don't make no more money, but I have more security. And like, security is a big damn deal to me today. A really big damn deal. And they also allowed me the opportunity to go to every single doctor's appointment with Mama. She had treatment, I could be there. I never missed a surgery. I never missed chemo. I'm so proud to say that I stayed clean and I didn't miss any of that shit for her. And in the process, like the relationship I started building with my mom while I was clean and I wasn't using with her anymore, oh my gosh. I can't even tell you how beautiful that was. She was still high. Because that's what we do, you know, and Mama just really never, up until the day she died, she's an addict. I mean, I really feel like it came by it honestly. And I was okay. There were days I'd get angry about it. There were days that I really was upset, you know, like there were days we'd have to pick her up out of the doctor's office floor and take her to the hospital because she'd OD'd on her way to the damn doctor. I don't know what I'd do if I was going through it, so who am I to say what she's gonna do, you know? But we did it anyways, you know, and when I say we, it was me and my kids. Now I can tell you that it was me and my children. All three of them. So, I don't remember the exact date. I know that my mama died on October 23rd. I know it was the 23rd because my clean day's on the 23rd of the month. Every 23rd of the month since the very first 23rd is a big damn deal to me. I don't take it lightly. Every day's a big deal. But on the 23rd, I get to stop and think, you know what? Oh my gosh, you made it another 30 damn days, you know? And that hasn't gotten old. I don't know why, but it hasn't. I hope it doesn't. And when Mama died the day, she died on the 23rd, and a lot of people think that I'm crazy when I think that this is such a big deal, but I don't think I could relapse right now and plan to come back on the 23rd. Like, she did that shit to me, I think. You know? I was sitting there going, oh my gosh, today, I woke up that morning going, okay, today, I've been clean for 3 years and 9 months. And then by that afternoon, I got to sit there with my hand on her chest when she took her last breath. The beautiful thing about that, Mama was on hospice for 6 days. 6 days. And that was the hardest thing I've ever went through that I know of in my life so far. I don't even think that being without my children was as hard as it was to sit with my mama in the same bed and watch her die. But something really amazing came out of that. You know, like I had all the kids there. And the 17-year-old, the day that Mom started on hospice, was still pretty angry with me. She didn't have too much to say. She really wasn't too excited that I was there even. And I'd realized, you know, when the nurse had told me that day that, you know, Mama's doctor was going to treat her to death, that it was coming close. So I decided I wasn't leaving. And And my 17-year-old, like, I don't know what happened. I don't care what happened. But something happened. And she started taking care of me. She was there taking care of me while I was taking care of Mama. And then we got to start sitting up a little bit and talking at night. And I got to talk to her about boys. And I hadn't talked to her about boys in I don't know how long. And I got to talk to her about school. And I got to talk to her about what she was mad at me for. And I got to talk about a lot of things that I just hadn't had the opportunity to talk about. And she's on her way. Like, she'll be here in a little while. Like, that's some big shit. In the past 5 or 6 weeks, you know, since Mama's passed, she actually calls and says, can I please come over? I could tell you that, you know, a couple weeks ago, it only been like, I could count on one hand how many times she'd been in my house. And this has all just happened since my mom passed away. Thanksgiving was my first Thanksgiving with all three. With all three of my children, finally. It took a long time as far as I'm concerned, you know, like, not like fucking forever, but it took what it took. I think God knew that if I'd gotten my kids back 6 months clean, I probably would not be standing here talking to you guys about this. I probably would have used, because I probably would have thought I was okay. And God, I believe, is what gave me a little bit of time. Gave me just that little bit of time. Kept sticking another thing in my lap. And you know, when Jen says no matter what, like everything I think about, it's always. I just haven't found a reason to use yet. So far, haven't found a reason to get high. I have not been happy. Had my heart broke. Had my mom die. I've lost the kids. Got the kids back. I lost the boy. I got the boy back. Lost the boy. Got the boy back. Whatever. The boy's gone. And you know, like, I heard that, Lord. And that's my goal, right? Like, how about we just forget about the boys? Let's forget about the boys again, because it's just too much, man. I'm not okay for all that. But when Mama died, I decided that, you know, there was a couple of things that I knew I needed to reevaluate. A couple of things that I made some promises to my kids. Man. And Narcotics Anonymous has taught me one thing about myself is that I do not like to tell you that I'm going to do something and not do it. If I don't think I'm going to do it, I'm probably not going to say, okay, I'm going to go do this. Well, I made the mistake of telling the kids that I would go back to school when my mom died. I kept thinking that was going to be a lot longer and farther away than it was. So now the kids are like, Mom, are you going back to school? I guess I'm going to have to think about that. But, so it's one of my goals. It is a goal that's coming. And it was funny because I can tell you guys, I went to go see my probation officer last Friday. Pretty excited about this part too. I went and saw my probation officer last Friday, and for my, you know, I go like every 3 months or whatever, and he was like, Theresa, here's the thing, by March. Because I have a really cool probation officer now. I didn't before, but I do right now. He's like, let's sit down and set some goals. And my goal was, you know, I told him, Mama used to go with me to see my probation officer. So I go in, the probation officer's like, where's Mom? I said, well, Mom passed away. And he was like, look, he was almost in tears, and that's pretty messed up. But I said, kids and I talked about it, you know, and they want me to go back to school. And he said, well, okay, how about this? He said, how about, I had over $10,000, I'm going to tell you, over $10,000 worth of fines that I had to pay in the past 4 years, almost 4 years. It's not even been a full 4 years. And I'm down to my last $3 grand, right? He says, Theresa, if you get that $3 grand paid by March 1st, I'll totally let you off probation. And I was like, what did you just say to me? So, you know, this is a goal. It's a goal. I can't say that it's going to happen. I'm not going to tell you that, you know, that's for sure what's going to happen, but it is something that I'm working towards. I know that I have a program that tells me I have to live just for today. I have to just stay clean for today. But I've gotten to a place in my life right now that I'm not going to live my life like it's just for today. I am setting goals for the future in hopes that I do stay clean. I want to teach my children, especially my daughters, how to be women and to be the kind of woman that I, would respect. And I want them to respect themselves. That's why I'm really trying hard on the F word, you guys. Like, I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, man, it's so disrespectful. I know that I have not cared about saying the F word that much. It's been actually, right. Right. Look, no, I keep making a joke about I think I've made an art form out of it, and I'm not lying. Like, I have seriously made an art form out of the F word. And I was sitting there the other day at home, and I was looking at my daughter, and I'm thinking, do I really want her to, take pride in something like that? Like, heck no, I've always said that, I feel like grace is a spiritual principle that I can't just practice. I really do believe that God places it in my life at certain times. And I just want that opportunity for my children too. We didn't have very high standards when I was using, okay? No. They were lucky if I did the dishes. So now, I just don't want my girls to grow up and think that it's okay that they end up in relationships like I've ended up in, and I don't want them to think that it's okay to present themselves the way that I have presented myself. They're sponges. I know this. Oh my God, do I know? And I want to make sure that now I try to live my life as an example. I feel like a wrecking ball half the time. Doesn't mean I am. It just means that's how I feel. I've had to learn how to be a mom again. And it really doesn't suck as bad as I used to think it did. I really thought that it was really a burden to be a mother when I was using, and it's not. It's probably one of the most beautiful gifts I've been given. And it's amazing to me that I didn't realize, I have a 23-year-old, I have a 17-year-old, and I have a 13-year-old, and it's taken me all this time for me to go, oh my gosh, God gave me these little people and said, look, here's this little person, and I'm going to give it to you, Theresa. And I took that shit for granted for so long. I didn't even realize until now. And it took my mom and I for me to realize that too, So, Christmas. Guess what? I put up a tree this year. It's my first year to put up a Christmas tree. That's the deal. And I didn't set it on fire. It's still standing, and it's little. And look, I've been looking at it. It's a little tree. It's not, this big. And I've already looked at it and thought, well, shit, we need a bigger tree. We're getting there. A little bit of progress. We didn't just put up a Christmas tree. I actually busted out Mom's Christmas decorations. Now, look, her ornaments are not on my tree. They're not going to be on my tree. I don't know what I'm going to do about that situation, but her decorations are out in my house right now. It's hard. Every single day, it's hard to sit there and look at Mama's stuff. But my mama has to be a part of my Christmas too, just as much. My kids deserve Christmas, and then I'll walk through it. It doesn't matter how I feel. I have a lady that has nothing to do with Narcotics Anonymous, but has everything to do with hospice that, told me don't get rid of anything. Don't do anything. Just don't do anything. And I thought it was so funny because I kept saying, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with all that stuff. She was like, all right, now we just don't do anything. So, oh my God, I got a room full of people who love to hear you say that to me. When you don't know what to do, just don't do anything. So, the one thing I do know is that my kids deserve Christmas. I get to spend this Christmas morning, as of right now, provided I stay clean for the next couple of weeks, with all three of my children for the first time. That's huge to me. It's going to be my first Christmas without my mom, but you know, like I can sit here and act like that's a really big deal, but it really wasn't a big deal those 2 Christmases I was sitting in jail. So, you know, honestly and truly, I was given an opportunity. I was given an opportunity to sit and love and talk and get to know my mom all over again. At damn near 40 years old, I have no idea I did not know that woman. And it was all because I was clean. Now, I was only clean because of Narcotics Anonymous, right? Like, that's the thing I have to stress is that I have ended up in mental institutions. I have ended up in jail. I have tried to kill myself several times. You know, it's another thing that's always been a big deal to me is that, you know, like, I haven't tried to kill myself not once since I got clean. Like, that's a big deal. I thought about it one time. And I called my sponsor and said, you know, like, I wasn't going to use, I just shared about this the other day in a meeting. I don't know if anybody's here, but, like, I shared about how, you know, like, I called my sponsor, I said, oh my God, I think I really just would much rather go kill myself, because I know that using isn't an option right now. And she was like, Theresa, would you please go get high? And I was just like, oh God, when your sponsor tells you to go get high, something's wrong. And so, you know, like, I had to reevaluate, and I you know, I don't ever want to get there again. I got through that situation, and I just, you know, I don't want to get there again. I want to know that, you know, I'm going to remember what's going to happen tomorrow, or what I want to remember tomorrow what happened today. I want my kids to know that they can depend on me. That's a big deal. My kids can never depend on me. And don't get me wrong, like, my kids are still really gun shy. They still worry. And right now they're watching me really, really, really close just to see how I get through it. And some days, you know, I'm learning how to live without my mom, and that's a big deal because I've taken care of her since I was 15. And, you know, it wasn't the dying part that was so hard. It's the part that I have to live now that she's gone that's been so hard. And there are some days that the best thing I can do is make sure that the kids' homework's done and they're fed, and I might have to just go to bed a little bit early. Definitely regular meeting attendance. I do believe in it. I've done service work since I've had like 90 days clean. I haven't stopped. I don't stop. I refuse to. Even when I don't want to be there, I'll be there. God knows I don't want to be there. You know, I was talking to a sponsee on the way here, and I was realizing, like, it was funny because I had this light bulb went on. When Mom died, I realized at that moment, and then I realized it again today, that, you know how they always say that we have to change our people, places, and our things. And it was amazing the way that it had worked out, and God had, you know, given me enough time in this program that the only people that I talked to were in recovery. So the day that Mama died, the only choice I had was to call people who were clean. The only choice that I had, like, I have a best friend who showed up and, you know, helped me go to the funeral home and plan the funeral. And I had people from these rooms show up for Mama's funeral, and I've had people strategically placed by the grace of God throughout the day, every single day, in the right spot at the right time, just to help me make sure that I get through it. I'm not going to use today because I still really haven't found a reason to. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to tell you guys when I do find that, you know, like, I hope I don't. And I don't know that, you know, I'll be the one that calls their sponsor if I think I'm going to get high. Probably not. I know who I am, and I ain't the one. But I just haven't, I've gotten too many good things. I've worked my ass off to get those. And when I say I worked my ass off, like, I worked the steps. I don't know about anybody else, but if you work some steps, like, it's hard work trying to get to the core of who the freak I am and figuring that out. there's a lot of hurt in that, and there's a lot of, crap that you have to go through. But then there's also some, like really good things. I get to find out who I am and like realize that I'm really okay. I'm an okay person, and I like me, and I don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose my kids. I can't say that. I can't stand here and tell you that I stay clean because I think I need to stay clean. There are days that I look at the kids and go, okay, I'm gonna stay clean because that's the only thing I got right now. Because that's the only thing I can see. But there's days I stay clean out of spite. I'm a spiteful little asshole. And sometimes that is the only thing. Yeah. Especially that boy situation. I'd be like, you are not that amazing. I am not going to get high over you. You ain't that great. Okay? Haven't met one yet. Yeah. I'm a little ornery like that. And it's okay. Like, it takes what it takes. And the fact of the matter is that, I do believe in no matter what. No matter what. No matter what, I don't have to. I'm in a new place. I don't know what it feels like. So I'm learning, and I was reading the Living Clean book, and it's funny because in the Living Clean book, it talks about, okay, somebody advised me that I need to stress that it's living clean, the journey continues. It's not really something that, you go, hey, I'm not going to read the basic text, I'm going to go ahead and just read the Living Clean book. Because I strongly suggest that the basic text is probably the most important literature. If you haven't read any literature, that's the best way to start. But I was reading in there about death and how, you can find yourself in this place, and it was like this book was reading my mind or whatever. I've never in my life felt as close to God in this very moment as I do. I've never also at the same time felt so lost and sad, and it's a weird place. It's weird because I don't know what it's like. I've never been here before. But to know that I'm okay, it's just a little bit sad. And it's gonna pass. And so far, it's only taken 6 weeks or so, or whatever it is. It's gotten better every day. Every day it's gotten a little bit better. And there's been a blessing in every single day. When the relationships end, or they change, I guess is a better way of saying it, because they don't necessarily end. I think they just change. Something about me changes too. And I think as long as I stay open-minded and I stay willing and I participate in my life, there's some growing shit that goes on in the middle of all of that takes me to another level of what kind of a woman I want to be. And I get closer to her every day. Am I there? Heck no, because I don't even know, I have no clue. But I don't want to go anywhere and screw up that process. I spent a lot of time alone lately, and it's not alone before would have been alone. I've been hanging out with God a lot lately and having conversations that I never was willing to have when I first got clean, or even in the first, 3 whatever years. I wasn't willing to have, and I wasn't willing to let some stuff go, and now I'm in a place where I have, in the midst of all of it, there's a lot of peace there. There's a lot of, there is a lot of calmness. There's a lot of, unconditional love that I feel that I can't explain to you. I wish I could put it in take it out and give it to everybody and say, look, this is what it looks like and this is how it feels, and and I hate that I've had to feel my way to this point, but I'm so grateful that I have. I'm so grateful that I stayed clean and was willing to actually do all of that. So anyways, that's where I go with the whole bittersweet thing. been a little bit of sad. No, it's been a whole lot of sad this past year. There's also been a whole lot of good. And I have no idea what's coming. I have no idea. Because every time I think, one last thing I'm going to say is, like, the best example I've always had, and I probably will always have, now I have that second example of, like, taking care of my mom and my 17-year-old showing up to take care of me. If anybody doesn't know what I mean, how serious that is to me, like, that was huge to me. I would have never in my mind imagined it was going to work out that way, right? Because even in my greatest of thoughts and theories, I can imagine it's going to be so either really great or really, really bad, and I have no idea. I put God in a box so many times that I think, like, the day that I went and signed my rights for Isabella over was the day that I got my first visitation with her. I didn't know that was coming that day. Like, I really honestly, that was one of those times where I had to go, okay, if you don't get your kids back, are you going to stay clean? And I had to go down. I'd willingly done this. Like, they called and said, okay, can you do this? If you can do this, it'd be a lot cheaper on us to go to notary public. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. Because it's a long story, but anyways, I got in my car and I asked somebody to go hold my hand. Somebody from the program, go hold my hand while I go do this. And I'm gonna give my mom my rights, all my rights. And then it was funny because, like, I got to go pick her up from school. And I thought school was going to arrest me. I was like, are they going to arrest me when I go up here? They're not going to let me pick her up. They didn't care. And that started that process. So, like, the whole thing about me saying that is that, like, I never know. I don't know. I can make it out to be all this whatever. And the fact of the matter is that, like, man, God does every time shows up. And, like, doesn't just show up, it shows out, like, amazingly. So I can tell you that it's taken almost 4 years, almost 4 years to finally, I'm not one of those that, oh, it's so great, I got my kids back in 6 months. It's taken almost 4 years for me to finally get the 17-year-old to spend the night. And I'm so grateful that it worked out that way. She is so much like me. I think that's a lot of our problem is that we're too much alike. But so yeah, Narcotics Anonymous introduced me to that God that I keep talking about. I know that I can't work the steps without a sponsor. I've been told that I have to have a sponsor that works the steps. So that's what I've done. I've followed every freaking suggestion I've been given, as irrational as they may be, and it might take me a little bit. I might beat my head against the wall, but I will follow a suggestion. I have an assignment right now that I'm sitting on forever that I cannot stand. Hate it. Don't want to do it. But I know for a fact that on those days when I'm sitting there feeling so horrible, I'm going to go do this wretched assignment. Because I don't want to stay in one spot. I want to be able to set goals. I want my children to grow up and be somebody. I still want to be somebody. I don't know who that is and I don't know what that is. But I don't want to sell myself short. And the reality of it is that I can do just about any damn thing I want to. I know with my record, like, they aren't going to let me be a doctor, and that's okay. And they aren't going to let me be a cop. Like, I don't really want to be a policeman, okay? Still don't like them. But other than that, like, who knows? I don't know. I'm going to go ahead, Lord, and get back in school. In the fall, not in the spring. I'm waiting until the fall because I'm going to get my ass off of probation first. But I'm going to go back to school. I made a commitment to my children. And I don't tell my kids I'm going to do anything I'm not going to do anymore. I don't do that. I'm gonna do my assignment, no matter how much I hate it, because I want to stay clean. I'm gonna keep a sponsor, because that's what I'm supposed to do, and I can't work the steps without one. I'm gonna keep going to meetings because I get really damn sick if I don't. I get crazy if I don't go to a meeting. I can't say anything about whether or not I'll end up with another damn boy or whatever that situation's gonna be. Oh man, whatever. I kinda got some hard feelings about that right now, so it's probably not a good idea I do them. But the fact of the matter is that, you know, like, I just want to be the woman, like, in our sixth step, we write about what kind of a woman I want to be, what kind of a daughter, what kind of a mother, what kind of a sister, what kind of a friend. It just all evolves into what kind of a woman do I want to be. And I want to be able to lay down my head at night and have some dignity. Dignity is a big word. Some morals, some values. And I want my children to see that and to want that for themselves. I can't do that from high. Period. Can't do it. So, the only thing I can say, and I'll shut up, is that I just really, honestly and truly haven't found a reason to use. There hasn't been anything yet worth it. I haven't found anything worth giving up. Things that I've gotten, the feelings that I've gotten, the love. I have people in my life that want to see me do nothing but good. That's a big deal to me. I never had people who wanted nothing but good things for me until I got here. So I just haven't found a reason to use yet. I found a reason to be all kinds of other things, but I haven't found one to get high. Not yet. And I really, really, really need you guys to know that I'm very grateful that you asked me to do this. Like, I needed it probably worse than anybody knows. I love you guys for it, you know, really that's all I got.